I'm Robert Bruce Thompson, and this is the Home Scientist video series. In this segment, Dr. Paul Jones will make nitrocellulose, otherwise known as Guncotton. This footage was actually shot about a year ago, just after I got my camcorder, so I'll apologize in advance for the low video and audio quality.
All right, first I'm going to weigh out about 5 grams of cotton balls. I'm going to use this styrofoam cup as a weigh boat. I'm going to use 10 cotton balls and we'll sort of get a rough weight. The exact weight's not terribly important. You can use any kind of cotton ball or any kind of cotton actually for this. Just make sure it's real cotton. Alright, so we have our cotton balls weighed out. We went ahead and put in a 10th ball at 6.2 grams of cotton balls. We're using, by volume, a mixture of sulfuric acid and nitric acid, concentrated sulfuric and nitric. 2 parts sulfuric acid, 1 part nitric acid. We're going to mix these in the graduated cylinder. We're using a ratio of about 15 grams of acid mixture per gram of cotton ball, of cotton. And then we're going to add the cotton balls to the acid mixture for 2 minutes, and then we'll rinse really well. You want to be careful in this experiment not to over nitrate. So a couple of minutes is going to be enough. So the brown gas that's coming off is NO2 and 2O4, oxygenated nitrogen gases. Doesn't smell terribly good, it's not very good for you, but it's indicative of the nitration reaction. So we're coming up on the end of 2 minutes. We'll start pulling these out and then rinsing the acid off of them. So quick dip through there. So in each of these three, these three vessels, I have just tap water. So we're rinsing the acids off the cotton. See that the cotton's maybe not quite in as good a shape as it was now. It's important to get all the acid rinsed out. So the nitric acid tends to be consumed in this reaction. Sulfuric acid, you still have a lot of that. So we'll rinse with water. Spill it on the counter. And then we'll do a final bicarb wash at the end before we dry the cotton balls. To make high-grade Guncotton, you would rinse significantly longer. You'd actually nitrate longer as well. The danger of doing that is you can make Guncotton that's very sensitive to explosion. We don't want to make it too unstable. So Guncotton was discovered by Swiss-German chemist Schönbein when he spilled some nitric acid on some cotton towels. Wanting to preserve stuff, he dried his towels out, hung them over the oven to dry, and after they dried, they detonated. So I'm sure his wife was irritated with him, but he'd made a very important discovery. And it's been nitrated cellulose has been used for a variety of things. Fully nitrated cellulose is a good explosive. It's certainly, what we're going to show you in a bit, is it'll burn much better than a regular cotton ball. If you've ever tried to burn a cotton ball, they don't burn terribly well. These will burn, if we've done it correctly, they'll burn with essentially no ash or no residue. So depending on how much you nitrate the cotton, you get different properties. Nitrocellulose has also been used in film. Not really anymore, but in the early 20th century, nitrocellulose films were common. Again, we're dealing with very concentrated, strong acids, nitric acid and sulfuric acid. So you can see the cotton balls here, and this is just regular tap water. I've exchanged this bucket 3 times now. We're going to let it soak or rinse in tap water for 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll do a quick neutralization with saturated bicarbonate solution, and then we'll dry the Guncotton. And hopefully at that point we'll have some Guncotton that will burn in a flash. So this is not so much an explosive as just some cotton that will burn extremely quickly. We're also, after we get them dry, we'll weigh them. I'm hoping I didn't lose any in the rinse, but we'll weigh them to show that we've actually added nitro groups. So the basic principle here is we're taking alcohol groups that are in the cellulose and we're nitrating them. And that's a theme throughout explosives and making really highly flammable materials. If you add nitro groups, the more nitro groups you add, the more explosive power you're going to have, generally speaking. So this is now the 4th rinse water. I've just replaced the 3rd rinse water in this bucket. Remember, there were 2 smaller beakers for initial rinses. You can see the cotton sitting now at the bottom of the water. This 4th water, we're gonna add sodium bicarbonate, baking soda, until there shouldn't be a lot of acid left in there. There'll be some. Obviously, clearly, most of you watching this know that if you add baking soda to acid, you get some bubbles. So we'll start with a little here, and you can see that there's not a whole lot of, there's not really much of any bubbling going on. I'm going to go ahead and give it this much, and then we'll stir this up. This is just sort of to make sure that the last little bits of sulfuric acid and any nitric acid that didn't get consumed get neutralized. Nitrocellulose is less stable if it's acidic, so you don't want to have dried out Guncotton sit around that's got sulfuric acid or nitric acid in it. You can also see that my technique wasn't terribly good. We've sort of destroyed some of these cotton balls. Hopefully I haven't lost too much of it. We're going to pull these out here in a few minutes and let them start air drying. So wet Guncotton isn't going to be flammable, and we want to get it nice and dry. Remember the story about the German chemist who hung his cotton towel over the oven? You don't want to heat it up too much. We want to dry it. We may use a hairdryer just to blow some air over it, but you don't want to heat the cotton to dry it. Just the easiest, the best and most safe way to do it is just to lay them out on a glass plate, a watch glass, a cooking sheet, and just lay them out somewhere there's going to be some air moving over it and they won't get too hot. So this really is just very, very mildly basic water at this point. I can go down the drain. I'll try not to... Kids, you should have better technique than this. You also don't want to leave Guncotton laying around in the kitchen sink. Use tweezers to pull these out. Squeeze a bit of water out of those. Just up against the side here. Alright, so we're going to set this aside for now and let it dry. We'll clean up a little bit and come back to that in a bit. But you can see right now these just look like wet cotton balls. Doesn't look like you've really done much of anything to them, and that's how it should look. You don't want it to look really brownish and yellowish. That says you haven't rinsed it enough. Got some Guncotton here in a barely lit lighter.
Okay, there you have it. You now know how to make nitrocellulose. Please subscribe, rate, and comment.